Welcome Home Go, inspiring you to find ways to serve, engage, and make a difference. Making it easier for you to find hope in your busy world. Our original production on Good Life 45, where hope happens. Go, make a difference.
Hi everyone, I'm Barbara Beck and I want to thank you for tuning in to Welcome Home Go. 30 minutes of discussions on challenging topics that will inspire you to go make a difference. This shorter version, a spin-off of Welcome Home, was created because we know you're super busy. So we've made it even easier for you to find hope, to grow in your faith walk, and then go and make a difference in this challenging world of ours. You'll still get the same meaningful, inspiring discussions on topics that we believe Jesus would want us to respond to by serving wherever we're called. Our focus on Welcome Home Go is to encourage you to find ways to serve that fit your lifestyle and your set of God-given gifts. These next few minutes together, let's listen and learn how to mobilize our families, our friends, our people, and do something to make a difference in someone's life. Maybe it's just one person, but go, serve, be the hands and feet of Jesus, and enjoy with me now. Welcome Home Go.
Go, make a difference.
Hey viewers, I'm so glad that you're here with us today. This is one of those times that we have that will really, hopefully, first of all, honor and glorify God, but will also help your heart to see that there is hope in each and every situation. And this is a very tragic story, but one which has victory because of somebody's heart here that you're going to hear who loves the Lord and has the hope eternal that he's going to see his son again. And you're going to hear that story and you're going to be really blown away by the faith story and the journey that this particular man is taking. Before I introduce you to Coach Stephen Hayes, I want to introduce you to Stephen Brock, who is a good friend of ours here at the station. You've been here before, Stephen.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you for both of you being here with us today. But before we get to your story, Coach, I want Stephen to tell us a little bit about how we met and a little bit about the Russell home.
That's great. Yeah, we met a few years ago now.
Yes.
Down at the Russell home. I volunteer down there. I'm their pastor.
Yes.
And what we do is the Russell home is a home for atypical children. It's for mentally and physically handicapped children, and we take care of them. And Channel 45 has been such a blessing to us down at the Russell home. We were able to build a new building and house the children. And so it's been just a great relationship we've had with you and Channel 45. And,
thank you,
and
Stephen.
we truly, it's been truly a blessing. God put y'all in our lives. We truly appreciate it.
Well, we really feel blessed and honored to know you guys and to see the work that is done there at the Russell home because, you know, we talk about these being children. There's some adults there, and there are people there that are my age that have been there for years and years and years, and the love that they get and learning about Jesus and their little faces, we just love the ministry that you all are doing there. So thank you for that and continue that great work. Well, Stephen, you approached me a few weeks ago and said, Barbara, you've got to hear the story about Coach Stephen Hayes and what his journey is like. And so you want to introduce us and just tell us a little bit about your buddy here?
Sure. This is Coach Hayes. He's one of my best friends. He coached my son in basketball in high school at Mount Dora Christian Academy. And he's had such an impact on me and my family. But he has been at Mount Dora Christian Academy for 16 years. And his story is just a tremendous story of hope.
Yes.
Hey, he's this tremendous story of what Jesus Christ can do in somebody's life. And he just amazes me in what he does every single day and how he gets through the day. And I just wanted you to meet him.
Thank you. Well, thank you for that introduction. And I know that we've been talking about when tragedy strikes, and sometimes that will happen in some of our lives, and it happened big time, Stephen, in your life. I feel like I ought to call you Coach. Is that what everybody calls you, as Coach?
That's all anybody calls
me. All right, I'm going to call you Coach. I'm going to call you Stephen, even though you're both Stephen. But thank you for having the courage to be here with us today, because you never know when you share your story how that's going to impact a life of somebody listening today. So take us through that dark night, September the 11th, 2011, not the 11th, it's September
24th.
September 24th, 2011. What happened?
Well, I think I got to start at that morning. We got up at 5:30 that morning. Actually, the basketball team went to down and we were at Orlando, and we were there where the Magic play and everything, and we were feeding the homeless veterans.
Wow.
That's how the day started,
Wow.
and really it was a tremendous thing, because when you're going, you're thinking, there's not that many homeless veterans. There can't be. Well, the line went all the way around the arena.
Wow.
And I remember we spent about 3 hours there, and after that, we came together and got on a bus, headed to a gym, and put on a basketball camp for the inner city kids down there. And I remember it ending with a devotional that we had, and then eventually making it back to the school. When we got back to the school, the person that Nathan was staying with brought him back, and he got with me, and we got in the car. And it was rainy, it was really dark.
And Nathan is your 10-year-old son.
My 10-year-old
He goes
son.
with you, went with you everywhere,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
He was like
Yes, ma'am.
a helper. The boys on the team looked up to him like a water boy, or I don't know, what's another
he
word
was a
for it?
manager for 3
Manager.
years. For
Manager.
us. Yes,
Okay.
yes. He was always he didn't miss practices. He didn't miss games. You know, as a matter of fact, what I do remember is he was very upset he didn't actually get to go with us that day. But he actually had a basketball game that morning, and so he stayed and played in the game. And so we got on the road. We're actually going to pick up my daughter, Kaylee. And as we're going, a car passed by us coming around a corner. So within about 30 seconds, a tree fell, and it fell into the road. And so I knew it had to have been within 30 seconds to a minute, just because a car passed us coming that same way. And so as you come around the corner with it raining, we did not see the tree. We hit the tree. We got out of the car. I put Nathan in a place that I thought was very safe. And as I went back to turn off the truck, a car came around. And when the car came around, I actually thought I was the one going to be hit. I actually flinched. And before I knew what happened, the car had somehow swerved away from me and went the total opposite way and hit Nathan. And to be honest with you, the rest of that night, I really don't remember much at all.
Yeah.
What I remember first after that was, in all honesty, a lot of anger. I was very angry with God. For 43 years, I didn't think that was, I didn't understand how people could be angry with God. I didn't understand how, you know, I just didn't think that was possible.
Because you were a Christian, and you had
Yes,
been a
ma'am.
Christian for a long, long time, and you're
Yes.
doing the right thing, and you're feeding the homeless, and you're coaching kids, and you're influencing kids. And so anger, to me, would be a natural response.
And that was my response, I would say, for about 2 or 3 months, to be honest with you.
That's
it was
all?
It was something that was hid. And
Coach,
to be
that's
honest with
not
you,
bad at all.
No, no, and in all honesty, it goes and it comes back at times.
Does it?
It still does, you know. But I think through those first couple of months, I hid a lot of stuff inside, because I was the male figure. I had to be strong for my wife and my daughter in my mind.
Right.
And what was happening was I was pushing God away, and during those first couple of months, things got worse and worse, because I kept trying to dig us out, and all I did was keep falling deeper into the hole. And what I used to do, I would go out. Mount Dora Christian was very good to me and my wife. They gave me as much time off as I needed, and I took about a month off. And what I would do, I would wake up in the morning and I would go for a run. And I would run for a couple of hours. And most of that time was spent crying, to be honest with you, because that was the one time I was away from my family. I didn't want them to see that. Yeah. And I still remember the day that all of a sudden I decided, you know what, I'm going to pray to God. And all I did was I kept praying, God, just give me a sign. All I want is a sign. Let me know He's okay. Let me know what I'm supposed to do. And so that was the first time I really honestly started talking to God and trying to figure some things out. Well, when I got back, during those first couple of months, I did not sit around. I didn't sleep. I continuously was doing something. So I probably ran for 2.5 hours, came straight in and started cleaning the house. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget, as I'm cleaning, the first thing I find is a bracelet under, I'll be honest with you, I don't remember what it was under. It was under like a couch or something where I was cleaning. And it was Nathan's, and it said, "Trust God."
Wow.
And that was
wow. That was your sign.
That was the first thing, and I just broke down right there. And that was one of the few times my wife and my daughter saw me cry. Mm-hmm. You know, in all honesty, that's probably the first since the funeral. But what I found out through all that time was, as I started studying and started really forming my own faith, one thing I did find out was that's very important is your foundation's got to be strong early. You need to build your foundation right now. That's what I continually talk to the students that I'm around, because when the trials come and the tragedies come,
and they will,
if that foundation is not strong, it's going to break.
Right.
Honestly, can say that if it wasn't for the foundation that my parents instilled in me, that I don't know where I'd be.
Because you were a Christian as a little boy?
I was a Christian from the time I was conceived. I remember going to church. I was the first one there, last one to leave.
Yeah.
But I did learn this after 43 years, because nothing bad had ever happened in my life.
Yeah.
For 43 years, the worst thing that happened to me was I lost my grandparents, and they were supposed to. They were old enough, and so nothing really tragic had ever happened. And so I started really studying and really trying to find the answers myself. I formed my own Christianity, my own spirituality. I was not living my parents' faith. I started living my faith. Yeah. And so, a lot of things evolved from that. I struggle every day. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I don't, because I do.
Because it's hard to tell the story, is it not?
It is. It is. But I know there's something bigger out there, and I know I'm going to see Nathan one day in heaven. Right. Like I said, every day is hard.
I read something that you said, Coach, in an article, that you said that there's never going to be any closure until you see Jesus again with Nathan there by his side. That's when the closure will happen. So the struggle is real every day, and I think that's a good message for our viewers to hear who have lost a loved one like you did, and in particular a child, that it makes no sense. And yet, and it's okay. And it's okay to be angry, and it's okay to not have closure, because how can you until you see him again? Let me ask you this, Coach. Did you ever have any doubts that God existed or that God was sovereign? Because in my mind, reading the story, you did everything right. You're living a Christian life. There's no discipline. This is not God punishing you for anything you've done. And so did you ever doubt that God was there on that night?
I immediately had that doubt. In all honesty, I really did. It really, like I said, it hit me hard, and I sat there and questioned everything. And the one thing I found out, like I said, is as soon as I started going back to him, I realized he was always there. Yeah. He's not the one that made this happen. I'll never know the reason why, and I'll be honest with you, I don't want to know the reason why. I'm human, and I'm going to have no matter how happy I am that he's in heaven. As a human, you always want your family here with you, and so that's. I would be lying if I said to people that's lost a child that it's going to get easier, because it's not. But with the hope of Christ, at the end, when everything's over with, we're all going to be together, and that's what we're striving to do. And so, for me, I want to go out and start speaking again on keeping your faith through tragedy, and I'll start that here in 2 weeks.
Good.
And I did that early on. I guess it was after about 6 months. I spoke at Steve's church. I spoke at about 6 or 8 different places, but that was just too soon. It got way too hard for me to do. And so we went to Alabama, to Madison Academy, and to a church up there. I did 2 in 2 days, and I looked at my wife and I said, I can't do this anymore right now. But as the year ended last year, I was talking to our administration, and one thing I said, I'd like to change a few things that I do at school so I can go out and have the time to speak again.
Good.
And like I said, I tell you, the school's been so good to me. A lot of people in my situation pack up and leave, and we didn't do that. And the big part of that is what Mount Dora Christian means to me.
Good.
And it's home. It's the best place I've ever been, and I started there as a coach, and I want to retire there as a coach.
What about the relationship with your wife? I know you're talking about the school and how great the school is, and I think that's incredible how they've come alongside you. It's important to have that support system also at home. And you said you wanted to be the strong guy for your wife and all that. How, Coach, did she react to all of this, and what was her journey a little bit like?
Well, if you see the statistics, most people get divorced over a situation like this. And we've always looked at each other and said, we never have understood that because it brought us closer together. We knew how each other felt. Nobody else knew how we felt. And so we both have our struggles.
She was never angry with you?
She was never angry with me.
Praise
No
God.
one. She was like me. She was angry with God.
Yeah.
But neither one of us ever blamed each other. She was actually on a trip that weekend, so she, to be honest with you, if there was any blame, she blames herself and I blame myself. That's what we fight more than anything. It's not blaming each other.
Yeah.
But we've been there for each other, and we've had some tough times. There's no doubt, but we faced those tough times together.
That's great. You've been married for how long?
We've been married for 26 years.
Praise God for that. You are keeping Nathan's memory alive in a really cool way, and you're involved in this too with the tournament and all that. Who wants to talk about that?
I'll talk about
Okay.
that. That's something we thought about doing this a few years ago, and we started it last year. It's called the Nathan Hayes Shootout. And what we've done, what's neat about it, we try to do things a little bit different. We have basketball games going throughout the day, and what we did is we picked out teams that we had played when Nathan was with us. Some of the teams that were our biggest rivals, like Father Lopez of Daytona Beach, the First Academy of Orlando, Trinity Prep. So we picked them and some other teams to come play during that day. And what we did is we decided that we would make it about sportsmanship. And what we do is we feed all the teams, the referees too. That's difficult sometimes, but we feed them. No, I'm just kidding. But we feed them, and then we have a message. Two of Coach's former players are pastors, and they speak to each one of the teams, and we talk about Jesus Christ, and we raise money, and we provide scholarships for students to send them to college.
Good.
So that's what we've done, 60 scholarships so far, and we're really proud of that.
That's great. Would that have happened otherwise?
No, ma'am.
Probably not.
No,
right?
ma'am, probably not.
So that's a cool thing. It's not that, that verse, sometimes people misinterpret Romans 8:28, all things work together for good to those who love the Lord, are called according to his purpose. This is something good that happened as a result of that, but it isn't why God did this. And God
Correct.
didn't even do this. I get so sad for people who think that this was an act of God, this is God's will. This was not God's perfect will for Nathan's life.
I don't know how people make it through something like this without Christ, without friends that are Christians, without your church family. I don't know how you make it through something like that, because that's what kept my family together.
Well, they don't make it. They get bitter or they get angry, and they're not productive. You're still productive. You're influencing young guys. I don't guess there are any girls on your team,
No,
right? This is all
It's all
boys
guys.
basketball team. So you're influencing lives for the kingdom, which is just a cool thing. There's something else that you do that I read. I don't know if you still do it. You have a chair, an empty chair, at each game.
Yep.
Tell us about that.
I did that since everything happened. There was a place where he sat as a manager, and I could turn around and always see him. And so I have a towel that was his towel the year before that has manager on it. And before every game, I go put it on the chair and kiss it and tell him I love him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Does everybody know about Nathan?
Yeah.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is
Nathan was a big part of our basketball program. Basketball has always been kind of the big sport at Mount Dora. We used to be Mount Dora Bible, now we're Mount Dora Christian. And Nathan was such a part of the basketball program. He was a little guy, with the boys, and he, like I said, he'd rebound for the boys when they shot. So he was such a big part of the whole school. Yeah. And even at games, it's kind of funny. The First Academy coach came up to me and said, my son and him used to play before the games and after the games, and he'd run around on the court. So everybody knew Nathan. So it was really neat.
He would be in 11th grade right now, so I'm actually teaching a bunch of his classmates, which I have in the past, 6 years. Or September 24th will be 7 years. But I'm more in contact with him more this year than I have been any other years.
So what would he be like today, do you think?
He would be, very flamboyant. He'd be very, active. Basketball was his life. He loved Paul Pierce, and he loved Mount Dora Bible basketball. That was his love. And so if the Celtics were on, he's watching the Celtics. If we were playing a game, he was cheering on us. When we lost, he would cry. One thing that is tough for me is he'd be playing for me right now, and that's one thing we both talked about. We always talked about we couldn't wait till that time, and so that makes a different dynamic now that I'm coaching his friends. For me and my wife, that makes it very different for us.
So this will be a kind of a different season than any other.
Yeah, and I had a couple of his classmates played on my team last year.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah, it's difficult. It would have been his turn to be the guy.
Yeah.
He would have been the man on the team.
Yeah.
And we knew that. We knew as a little guy. The day that coach was taking the team to that we lost Nathan, I was coaching him that day. I mean, he was just a little guy, and he was the best player on the floor. And we knew Nathan was going to be a great basketball player.
Yeah.
And it would have been his turn.
Coach, what's the biggest lesson that you've gleaned from all of this that maybe you could share with our viewers that would encourage them today?
I would say no matter how far down you feel as you are from Christ, he's always there. I mean, we're going to face trials throughout our entire life, whether it's a family loss, whether it's a job loss, whether it's marriage problems, no matter what it is. Every day there's going to be something that comes up. Some are bigger than others, but how we face those trials and what we do after those trials hit us determines, our fate eternally, is the way I look at it. And, for me, I want to live this life to be in eternity. And one thing that's happened with me going around and speaking the first time is, I've been able to baptize some people. I've been able to, really reach out and help others, because I've always, when I'm reading the Bible, I see that it's saying, don't just get yourself to heaven, but really reach out and try to take as many people with you as you can to heaven. And that's really what we're trying. That's what we're put here on earth to do. And this is a backwards world that we live in. Yeah. We are the minority, as it being a Christian in this day and time. And it takes a lot. It takes somebody uncommon to stand up and be a Christian these days.
Yes.
But as we, I've been very fortunate, and like I said, where I'm at, I get to do some things not many people get to do. We have a Wednesday night church service that we started 3 years ago. The thing that I enjoy doing the most out of anything I do there at school is Wednesday nights. And, and we have a bunch of students. They're all invited. My wife and some other, his wife and some other moms cook meals, and we feed them, and then we have about an hour Bible study.
That's
and
amazing.
it's a great time. And when Wednesday's over with, you're ready to finish the week.
Right,
Then
right.
you feel you're on a high. That's nothing. There's nothing like it. And so that's when it's all said and done. That's what we're all striving to do is to get ourselves to heaven.
And I'm hearing such wonderful things about how important it is to have that base, Coach, that you've said. When we start our walk with the Lord, we really need to go deeply and to get those roots in, to hide God's word in our heart and to really be sincere about our faith. And then when that trial comes, whatever it is, in your case it was a horrible, horrific tragedy, but when it comes, we have a better chance of being able to deal with it because of the faithfulness that we've lived through the years. So as much as I hated to hear this story, and I hate the pain that you go through on a daily basis, I knew that we needed to share your story because somebody out there today needs to hear it and to understand that with God, we can get through anything, and the tragedy will come our way. You have any final words that you want to say to the viewers? Maybe something that you've learned through Nathan's passing or your relationship with Coach or anything?
God is faithful, even when we're not. God is faithful. And it doesn't we don't have to determine what God is. He is faithful. And I said, I've known Coach for a long time. The impact that he has every day is beyond what he even realizes. He touches lives every day. Young men that struggle, young men that don't have a knowledge of Christ, they're seeing him every single day live it. And he went through the tragedy, and he's come out on the other side, still preaching Christ. That's an incredible story, I think.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Stephen Brock, for your ministry there at the Russell Home and your church. We didn't say the name of your church.
Crossroads Church.
Crossroads Church in
Apopka.
In Apopka.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for all that you're doing and for the way that you've encouraged me through the years with your faithfulness there at the Russell Home and in all your dealings and your friendship with Coach Stephen Hayes. Thank you, Mount Dora Christian Academy. We're so grateful that God brought you across our path today, and we honor Nathan's life today, and we want all of our viewers to be sure that you hear how important it is to have the kind of faith that these gentlemen have, in particular when tragedy does strike and comes our way, and it will. In this world, we will have trouble. We say that verse all the time. It's John 16:11. So know that. Is that right, Stephen? John 16:33, 16.
I'm not sure, but
okay,
it's in there.
It's in there. It's in John, and we'll put it up on the screen for you. But we know that we need to hear these stories so that we can continue to have the hope in Jesus Christ that He brings us. These discussions help us see the power of Jesus in all of our lives, and because our Lord is in us, He can make a difference not only in our lives but in the lives of all of those around us. You know, it's one thing for us to talk the talk, and we do it pretty well here. We talk a lot. But after we hear about Jesus and we grow in Him and we have that foundation, then what's next? Just think about the direction that Coach Hayes' life might have taken if he decided to just give up, quit his job teaching, coaching, and influencing young people's lives. But Coach knew in his heart that he had to keep going. He had to serve, perhaps initially as a way to keep his son's memory alive, but ultimately to simply obey Jesus' mandate to serve others. So my encouragement to you today is to mobilize our families, our friends, our people, and do something to make a difference in someone's life. Maybe it's just one person, but go and serve. Be the hands and feet of Jesus. Stay with us. We have more coming up.
Go. Make a difference.
Powerful words and discussions, even challenging in a lot of ways, right? Well, it certainly makes me want to re-examine my own priorities. I want to make sure that everything I'm doing is in line with God's will for my life, being involved in ministries and activities that are pleasing to my Father, and never just spinning my wheels. Well, I know you're super busy, and here at Good Life 45, we want to serve you in the best ways we can and make it even easier for you to find hope in this challenging world. That's why our focus on Welcome Home Go is to encourage you to find ways to serve that fit your lifestyle and your set of God-given gifts. Friends, we need to be learning, applying our hearts to instruction, finding ways to be winsome to the world, but then going out and serving like Jesus would do. He would go and serve others. That's our calling. God's going to use you in ways you can't even imagine. So keep learning and growing, but take another step. You don't have to go across the ocean. Like the program you just saw, we want to share countless examples of ways you can change people's lives right here, right now. Go. Just make a difference in someone's life. And that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching Welcome Home Go. I hope to see you out there, and God bless you.
You just watched Welcome Home Go, a Good Life 45 original production that makes you part of our Hope Team here on Good Life 45, where hope happens.